It's November the 25th, 2015. I'm Dana Durnford, also known as nuclearproctologist.org. And you can find my videos and Fukushima presentations all over the internet. Now, we have Nuclear Hotseat came out and bashed me, wouldn't use my name, and so doesn't have conviction in what they're saying. But nevertheless, I have to come out and answer that particular call because it is so disingenuous, so unfounded, so malicious, so vicious, so unwarranted that I can't sit here and be smeared by the likes of these people. And so let's just jump right into it.
Here's today's final thought. Right now, there's a bit of a controversy in our community over a particular individual who shall remain nameless, who calls himself an anti-nuclear activist and just got arrested for making death threats against several scientists.
First off, I'm Dana Durnford. I actually have a name. And you are convicting me of something I didn't do before I get my day in court, and that I'm not charged with uttering death threats. I'm charged with criminal harassment of people who say there's no radioactive fallout in Canada and trying to get them to confess that they are misrepresenting the data, and that you have taken this to a whole new level without any merit whatsoever.
Now there's a hue and cry that he's somehow being persecuted because of his anti-nuclear stance, that it's wrong that he's being forced to take down his threatening YouTube videos.
Well, for starters, I had to take down 300 videos because there 6 of them or so might have had their names in it, and that was the requirements by the court. I wasn't charged with uttering death threats. Once again, I was only charged with criminal harassment. And those charges will be dropped and I will be vilified. Unfortunately, people like yourself have come out and accused me without even trying to do the basics. That is well known from the day I got arrested, that I wasn't arrested for death threats. But yet here you are, vilifying me, trying to kill me. This is the same thing as a death threat, is what you're doing to me. And as we play this video out, everybody will see that about you. And we will all be stuck with this one question of where and why and how did you come to that conclusion, and why didn't you look at the other side of the story, and why don't you even give me a chance to defend myself, and why do you do it so disingenuously where you come out and you don't have any context.
And that we all need to donate to his defense.
Yeah, because I'm not charged with death threats like you're smearing me. I'm charged with criminal harassment of people who said there was no radioactive fallout. And look at this. Rain, that's just one of them. Simon Fraser from Canada. So 20 million particles of radioactive iodine. Now let's think about that for 1 second. Does radioactive iodine fall by the liter? Does it fall by itself? Is there any other radioactive elements, or is it just that? Huh? Well, let's keep playing the video. There's all the other elements, 2,000 other elements that fell. If you had one, you had to have all the others. If you got 20 million of one, it's 31 times 129 with a 15 million year half-life.
Fund. Horse pucky. I won't go into the complaints that others have made about this individual and his actions.
Wait a second. Why not? So now you're going to have a conjecture. So your supporting evidence is that you heard somebody say something about me. Well, I should start up a ghost account and say things about you, maybe, and then people can refer to that. Is that what you're saying?
Over the past few years, I'll just state for the record that, in my humble opinion...
Yes, and that's all it is, an opinion, an uneducated one, where you didn't even listen to the video, and you didn't bother to see if I'm actually charged with something like death threats, which I'm not. I'm charged with criminal harassment of people who say there was no radioactive fallout in North America, period. And I have every right to do that. And they had no right, and they have no foundation, no way of winning the case. But you already convicted me. There is no such thing as innocent before guilty. And so if you get involved in a crime, we should just naturally condemn you and make up ad hominem about you. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what you've done to me, isn't it?
Bad behavior is bad behavior. No one can convince me that threatening people in any way, let alone death threats,
I didn't make death threats. Where are you getting your script from? Who gave you that?
Is appropriate among or between rational human beings, no matter what justification may be given. You know, if you jump up and down waving a red flag in the face of a bull, you don't get to complain when he turns on you and gores you.
Well, that's what you just done to me. You turned on me and gored me when we supported you. You stabbed me in the back over and over and over and over and over. You didn't bother to get your facts straight, and you didn't even try. You wrote a vicious, slanderous closing for your 1 hour show to try to take away any support from me. Who the fuck are you? What the fuck are you? What gave you the right to attack me like this?
That's just the nature of the beast. So it is with making threats against the life of another human being.
They're telling people to eat the fish, there's no radiation in it. So ultimately they will kill millions of people. Most of them children and good-natured people who put their faith into people like you too.
It's illegal. And the authorities who
It should be illegal to do what you got done to me, yes.
have the power to do so will notice and...
Yeah, but they don't notice these people like yourself who comes out and makes that up and says that I'm guilty of one thing without even giving me my day in court and convicts me and then tells everybody to run away from me, are they?
Respond. That's what they did. No surprise there. And that's what this is about.
Is that right? That's not what this is about. What this is about is that I covered 15,000 miles of the coastline. That's what this is about. And I showed an extinction event. We'll cover that at the end of the video. But that is so disingenuous to do that to somebody.
Not nukes. To be honest, I believe the authorities, who are not from the United States, have responded with remarkable restraint.
Really? They didn't look at both sides of the story? In fact, the police, when I went down to court, never even got me into the courtroom, tried to drag me down to the court, to the police station, tried to do a video statement, but told me they had watched 500 videos of my presentations and only could find a couple of sentences. What you're doing to me is just unbelievable.
Given how they might have overreacted. Look, every movement attracts its fringe personalities of variable intelligence and or stability who think that by calling something activism, it's an excuse for acting badly based on their unresolved childhood issues.
Childhood issues. Childhood issues. When I was 13, I was in the back of a boat on the North Atlantic throwing 3,000 to 4,000 hooks over the back of it 4 o'clock every morning. And then all day long. That every crack in my hand, every one of them was open and bleeding for the next 10 years. And that we soaked our hands every morning at 3 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. a.m. we headed out into the North Atlantic in a little tiny boat, and that it was the wonderfulest years of my life, and that allowed me the skill and the endurance and the fortitude to cover 15,000 miles of the coastline in 260 days, looking at the carnage on 5 expeditions. And as you ignored all of that, but use this opportunity to vilify me, is just gut-wrenching.
But it's not. Nothing excuses that behavior.
Nothing.
Charles Manson came out.
Right, now I'm Charles Manson. Now I'm Charles Manson. I was getting killed on the ocean in 260 days for putting all that documentation up at the nuclear proctologist. You want to break something?
Against nuclear. I still wouldn't let him off the hook for slaughtering actress Sharon Tate and all those others.
Why are you equating me with Charles Manson? Why would you do that to me? You got any idea how much time and energy and effort and work and loss that I've suffered to get what I got done? To show everybody that Fukushima really did happen, that is still ongoing, and that we're going to lose the fucking planet. We already lost the Pacific Ocean. I've proven that. I've proven that. I've proven it. I've proven it. And I come ashore and I'm vilified, attacked, demonized, arrested, have my site attacked. I can't even post live streams anymore, and no one gives a fuck about me.
This is not an issue for the honorable, robust, and growing international movement against all things nuclear to waste any further time or attention on.
Yeah, just abandon me, like you're doing right now. The day before I get to court, I'm down in Victoria where I was shanghaied. They tried to Shanghai me. Didn't even have me on the roster to get me in the courtroom. They wanted to bring me down to the police station. They didn't have enough evidence.
We've got much bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, we got a dead Pacific Ocean. We got no fish to fry, you moron.
So, calling all anti-nuclear activists, stand down from giving even 1 nano more of your attention and your energy to this. Carry on with all your good, solid work, and know that this is both my first and last acknowledgement of this non-nuclear issue.
Non-nuclear issue. Look, we covered, let me bring this up for everybody, 15,000 miles. 15,000 miles in that boat. Think about that. And that we were looking for life, and what we found was nothing was left. Here was pre-Fukushima, here's what's left in the same spot. And that these species is the entire coastline of British Columbia would look like that. And now we got that up at the nuclear proctologist, the entire coastline, the entire coast looks like that. I'm Dana Durnford, the nuclearproctologist.org. You can go over there and look up the documentation of the 5 expeditions. And the fact that I'm upset is because I'm just a normal person, and that I've worked so hard to get this documentation so that we can have a debate. And instead, I got the Globe and Mail, I got the Japanese Times, CBC, the Nuclear Hotseat, and many of the pro-nuclear coming out and demonizing me and vilifying me, claiming that I made death threats and basing all their attacks up on that, when I'm charged with criminal harassment of people who said there was no radiation, when I proved it over and over and over that the radiation was vicious throughout North America, that it wiped out the entire ecosystem throughout British Columbia, and that how can you deny that? How can you get away from that? How can you ignore that? How can you pretend that that never happened and use it to drive everybody away from the one person who can prove that there really is a vicious impact and that we are in desperate times, and that I've worked relentlessly to come up with solutions and a way forward for the entire population and all the creatures on this planet? How can you do that to me, Libby? How can you do that? How can you do that to this planet? How can you do it to the only opportunity that we got out there for reality? How can you demonize me for something I didn't do or didn't say? How can you try to come out and tell everybody not to support me on the very day when I need that support? It's the same night the Japanese Times came out and vilified me by claiming the same thing. How could you not do your basic research? How could you not know the things I've done? How could you not know that when you subscribed to me last year, Libby? How could you not know? You fucker. You goddamn fucker. Fuck you. I fucking stood by you thick and thin, and you fucking just stabbed me. You probably fatally stabbed me. That was murder. Just by another way. Hugs for everybody. We'll be live streaming. I'll be posting another video where the new live streams will be taking place. It's fucking just unbearable that this is being done to me, and that all the support is being driven away from me, and that's why I'm suffering the way I am. It's because everybody's being driven away by people like Nuclear Hotseat. It's heartbreaking. Hugs for everybody.